Welcome back to my channel, welcome back to World of Chaos. I am Geoffrey. I'm going to show you two battles. The first one, I got a triple mark on my barrel. You see I'm going to start with a double mark, so I put on the skill for LTU camo, the team camo, to motivate me to go for the third mark. And the battles are going to be very chaotic. That's when you end up doing well. And I also wish that Klaus Kelman did a Swedish chef voiceover for these sorts of battles. That's the thing we really need.
After a few moments, I perceived a line of gentlemen with rifles. They were looking in my direction. I looked around, but could not see the target.
Okay. Right. I guess that's very appropriate for World of Tanks. And so all these people seem a little bit... so one of the guy on the left had a mark on his barrel thing. But the T-3485 looked a little bit lost. So not all of them are very experienced. And the way the team's deploying is actually very good. Now, let's see how it goes. We already have targets.
Stay where you are. You'd never leave this bookshop alive.
So I got this TD after seeing a video clip that Skill did more than a year ago. And it said that it's a very good tank. It has higher damage if you shoot gold, and a lot more higher velocity, cell velocity. And for its DS6, it shoots 330 when we shoot gold, with 1200 meters per second gun velocity. So that's quite amazing for its steer. And it has become one of my favorite TDs, you probably already know. So nothing more appropriate than putting the skill for LTU team cam on it. I missed.
If you're calling the author of ARL V39 a loony, I should have to ask you to step outside.
So the team has deployed really well, I thought. And we're sort of doing okay at the moment. You have two light tanks scouting in the middle, scouting actively. The enemy light tank seems to be on the back foot. And we are 1000 HP up. But no, we are kind of, someone's getting shot. Oh, the T-34-100, yes. He looked very confused at the start of the game, so I suppose he's a new player. But why do you play at tier 7 if you're a new player? Why don't you start at tier 1 and tier 2? I don't know, maybe tier 2, tier 3 or whatever. I played 3000 battles at tier 2 before I moved to tier 3. But I see people with 100 battles and they're playing already at tier 6, tier 7, or even tier 8. And so at the moment we're doing okay. It kind of looks promising, although we're very much down on HP. And that's because of the suicides. It's because of the suicides down this bushy road. And I keep missing or bouncing, ricocheting, whatever is happening. That probably caused some damage, although it didn't go anywhere near where I was shooting. So I have the rotation skills, whatever they call, whole traverse skills in this tank. Here I think I'm hitting, because it has very slow traverse. So and also food. I think it helps a little bit with traverse. And I think I may sometimes have put...
Stand and deliver!
I put one of the kind of special, what are they called, this special buffs.
Hampstead wasn't good enough for you, was it? You had to go pouncing off to Barnsley.
No, that's not dead, it's rested.
And shot him. One of those things you can add that, you know, give you concealment or whole traverse. And I use the whole traverse one to get as much whole traverse in the stack as possible. It also means that you don't lose as much speed, I think, as when you're turning, and it's easier to counter opponents if you're fighting in close quarters, which is something you don't want to do in a TD. So the whole thing about a TD is you have to be as far away from the enemy as possible, but still within shooting range. And you have to have as big and wide a field of fire as possible, which is the exact opposite of what a heavy tank player wants. And that perfectly explains why. So I'm shooting next to that dead tank, hoping that someone is next to it or taking cover behind it. So that's the very opposite of what a heavy tank player wants. And very often you see heavy tank players being very frustrated that you don't come and shoot alongside them. But if you're in a TD like this, you'll be dead in a flash. If you do that, you'll be like a sitting duck. Literally. In a flash of a second if you get tracked. So I'm again shooting at locations where I thought I saw enemy tanks. Earlier and close to that, they're tank hopping. They're somewhere behind it or near it. So we are unfortunately more than 1,000 hit points down. 2 tanks down. We have about almost half the hit points the enemy team has. So it's already looking tough. I have 4 teammates, so that's it's not completely hopeless. The guys who had gone on the hill, unfortunately, they all died. And it's a shame because I thought we had a nice deployment, but somehow it didn't work out for us. I'm moving to shoot at that guy, but he's running away and he's staying out of render range. Okay, we have to sit around here and defend the base. Have worse things to do than defending the base, I suppose. Worse options. So. And why is our light tank going forward? That's a mystery. There aren't even any enemy SPGs, so. And there's nobody who would support him there. The 87 is stranded out in the middle of nowhere, so as soon as he gets spotted, he'll be gunned upon. I don't know why he did that. He's already lost half his HP. Oh dear. So I'm shooting those bushes, hoping that I might blind shoot the 2 tanks that were hiding there. And I only have 1 kill so far. The 87 completely wasted its hit points. That's a very dangerous tank.
I apologise for that.
Bounced.
I think you'll find this a bit more interesting.
Oh dear, that's going to come back to haunt me, that miss. If I had tracked him, it would have been a completely different story. Completely different story. So I've done less than 1,000 hit points damage, but I have lots of blind shots, as you are going to find out. Oh, come on. This is the other thing. Oh, bounce on the light tank. Come on. How is this even possible?
What?
RNG sometimes is crazy. How many bounces? Not this one. Oh, spotted. Great. Now everybody's gonna start shooting, including the T-25.
I think what's happened is...
Yeah, the E-25,
terribly
sorry.
funny.
Yeah, that was new. I got shot 3 times by the E-25. That was wonderful. And of course I have to take out the heaviest tank. Useful story. Okay, so the MST has some very dangerous tanks. The E-25 and the KV-3, both of them high tier. And yeah, there's not even a chance for a Colobonus. There he is.
Oh dear, is he alright?
And of course I got spotted. Now he's somewhere in the field. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Well, that's cast rather a gloom over the evening, hasn't it?
Oh yes. Oh yes. So, it was a close defeat, I guess. So, that was from over the period of Holiday Ops. And here is the Mastery Badge and the 3 marks of excellence on the barrel, as well as High Caliber and Fire for Effect. And I was buying lots of boxes. Loot boxes over the holidays, so I did okay. 3,550 something damage, and a little bit of spotting and other things, assist of some sort. But yeah, a defeat. What more do you expect? Yeah, it's very strange that it was such a... You know, it was a defeat considering how well the team had deployed at the beginning. So that's the wonderful tank with a beautiful camo. And while we're at it, I got 4 of the 5 tanks in the loot boxes over Holiday Ops. I got all the 4 that I didn't want. I didn't get the one that I wanted, the Skoda T56. Got all the other 4, which I didn't have, unfortunately. So this is the Bofors Tornwagen. At least I can hopefully use it in some way with my Swedish crews. So here it is, and I also got right after this battle the German commander, the female commander that here she is, by the way, the Bofors Tornwagen. You'll see her in a minute. Here a couple of my other favorite Christmassy camos and Christmassy tanks. That was I reached tier 8, and here she is, Christina Winter. I got her after this battle. Oh yes. So I have a German female commander because I didn't have very many. I didn't have any German. Would never get German special commanders. We get lots of Russians. We get some other Americans or British. We get some Chinese. We never get anybody German. So I was very pleased to get her. And here's once again the wonderful Christmas atmosphere. Just one last look. Nostalgia until next Holiday Ops. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to put him in a Leopard, I think, as a crew commander. I researched the Leopard over holiday ops, and so I'm going to put him in there, and another wonderful tank, the Pretty Fly tank. And I guess we can move over to the next battle. Next battle, I finished one important series of TD missions for one of the tanks, you know, the tank missions, the Excalibur missions. So this is again the results from the last battle. Oh, and one more video clip of another one of those 4 tanks in the loot boxes from Holiday Ops. This one is the Chinese one, the 122, what was it, 122 something or other. I don't think I'm going to play any of these 4. It's very frustrating. 122 TM. None of them is particularly good. I have lots of other better tanks to play, so it's really frustrating. I couldn't get this Skoda T56 because I wanted to research some Czechoslovakian tanks. Okay. So, off to the next battle, once again with the ARL V39. Another very nice map for TDs. And the glorious kill camo. It was worth joining his team for his camo style, by far. Well, the other ones were good, but this one definitely was the best. It's a very racy, very nice color combination. And of course, Kill is a fun guy. So, whenever I spawn in this map on this side, I destroy all these buildings just in case I need to defend the base, which happens quite a lot. Geoffrey always has to fix things near the end of a battle. Unfortunately, I do not succeed every time, as you just saw. So once again we have a decent deployment, so we have a couple of tanks going into the city, into Kiev, and a couple of tanks going out in the middle to spot. Unfortunately, yes, 2 tanks are going to the left, so it's a perfect deployment. And we have another 2 TD sniping, so that's just great. And this promises to be another nice battle like the last one. Hopefully we can win this time. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You'll find out. So it looks like we're gangbanging one guy in the middle. That's very good. Winning the middle is huge. It's, you know, I sometimes feel like, you know, there should be more of a fight for the middle. Very often my team fails to contest the middle. But, you know, the left is also important from this side. I think the city is not so important, especially if you're a TD, because you can shoot anyone who emerges from the city. So I don't think fighting in the city is important, but of course the heavy tanks cannot go anywhere else, so we have to go into the city. So that's understandable. And if you win the city, especially on the other side, then you can approach their base relatively safely. On this side you're slightly more exposed. Not completely. You also have some cover if you hug the red line. Okay, so I'm looking for victims. There was nothing on the other side. The enemy was very timid, so I was hoping maybe this guy, or maybe the guy's behind here, this building, but he just went away just as I was aiming at him. And this guy went away as well. 3 TDs on the enemy hill. 3 TDs on our hill. But I think overall we're doing quite well, I would say. And the balance of battle is even. Nobody's winning at the moment, so that's good. And this guy just... I'm in the wrong side of this house to shoot at that guy. So I have to go back to my bush there, back to my tree nest. Haven't done a whole lot so far. It's very disappointing performance. You might wonder, how did I finish that TD mission? What's going to happen? Just blind shooting, blind. There's usually someone in these bushes, so I'm shooting with the normal ammunition that has a shell velocity of about 800. Actually, think the APCR shell velocity is not 1200, it's 1000 meters per second, but that's still quite fast. It's reasonably fast for a tier 6 tank in any case. So you get both higher gun velocity and higher alpha. And you probably get also slightly better aiming, especially if you're aiming at a distance or tanks that are high in the sky, you know, like on a hill. You're more successful shooting with higher shell velocity. So I'm trying to get one of these two people. Oh, that was lucky. We're losing. Geoffrey has to change that. Geoffrey has to do something about it. Problem is I cannot be everywhere at once. This happens to me a lot. I had a battle the other time with a Panzer E100. Whenever I turned away and I went to help somebody else, whoever I left behind was killed, and you know, just that side was lost, and I went that side, the other side was lost, and I went to the middle was lost before I could get there. I mean, you know, before I could reach anywhere. But sometimes I'm lucky and I can fix things. So we're not doing so well. It looks like we're losing. I thought we had a good deployment. Okay. It didn't spot me. That's the thing. If we're talking about mistakes people make, get some optics. Okay, get optics or binocs if you're playing this game. It's so frustrating sometimes in a team where nobody has optics, and they expect, you know, me in a TD to spot for the whole team. And I'm afraid one of the big reasons battles are lost in relatively open maps is that one of the two teams had, you know, did not have optics and binocs on their tanks. I'm pretty sure that's one of the big factors in losing a battle. Which means there are people who are researching the tank, and just researching, or there are free-to-play players and this and that. And I have a feeling that, you know, it looks like it's all random, but the matchmaker can't select a team with bad optics or bad, you know, no equipment, free-to-play players and that, even if they're decent players. You end up losing. And it's in favor of, so I killed that guy, by the way, it's in favor of wargaming, in favor of the game, for one team to lose fast, so that games don't last long. We're down 7-12, so I have to kill 8 enemy tanks for us to win. And I cannot be everywhere at once. As soon as I come this side, you see the other side has fallen. Now there's this guy in the gully. You know, the middle, the tanks that were in the middle are all dead. There's the KV-2 going for their base. I hope he comes back. And I have defended our base with the help of the VK, basically on my own. And I'm probably the only one who has optics, at least of the three ones that are left. I don't know if the KV-2 is going to get here on time. I don't see it. So this is the best spot for spotting in late game if your team is down in tanks. Because I'm going to come for the base, yeah. And I've also destroyed those houses, so I have a view of the base if someone tries to come. Oh, here's the first victim. 80. Oi, okay. Bounced on my tracks. This tank has no armor, but it has fantastic tracks. You cannot imagine how often I have bounced shots with my tracks. It's just crazy. Oh, where did this shot go? Ah, and I got spotted as well. Okay, now I have to out DPM this guy. Oh, someone is shooting me from the side. Fortunately, it's a low tier tank, tier 4 tank. Oh, come on. Okay, this is like nearly over. I missed or bounced. That was lucky. That's like totally lucky. Might have survived it, but I was so close. And the VK was admiring the scenery. At least the KV-2 is coming to my aid. The other thing is when you're in a tank destroyer, don't shoot just because you can take a shot. Just wait until you have it fully in your sights. And that guy did not have optics. See what I'm talking about? One wins the battle. Sometimes, maybe not always, sometimes it's which players and which team has better view ranges, better optics, binocs and so on. Okay, spot another one. So I seem to be doing okay at the moment. This was the guy who shot me earlier on. Someone else shot him as well. So maybe the VK, possibly. Blind shooting. It's just gone down into the pit there, whatever, into the this kind of whatever they are, these trenches or whatever they are, bomb craters or whatever. Oh, the VK got him. Well done. Sound shot. You know, there may be another thing, that people are not used to be able to spot very far, so they don't always try to have shots, because, you know, if you have good optics or binocs, you are prepared to shoot. But if you used not to have such stuff, then maybe you just hide behind some house or hope for the best. Well, it happens a lot. So I'm expecting one of their tanks is somewhere behind the house, and if it peeks a little bit, they might hit him, but I don't think I hit any of the shots. So there was one guy here on the left, so I'm going to take a quick look, maybe blind shoot. I don't see much activity. We're winning now, 13-12, and I've already killed 5 tanks. And it's yeah, it's a very lucky comeback. It doesn't happen all the time, believe me. I can't always pull battles back if we're losing by this much. And, I'm definitely not a unicorn, even though I'm an okay player with TDs. And I don't even know if unicorns can always pull back from such a situation. I know skill can, I know some people can. Occasionally I've seen battles with skill where he was losing like 5-9 or whatever, 5-10. He pulled it back. Okay, now the thing to do is maybe create a bush here if the enemy art isn't watching. Right now the enemy doesn't have any arties, so we're kind of still risking it. This guy doesn't have binocs. See what I'm talking about? See what I'm talking about? He was spotting without binocs. What is the point? He was motionless, spotting without binocs. How can people play like that? So we're winning now, 3-1 from whatever it was, 3 against 8. We're now 3 against 1. The question is there enough time for us to win, or is it going to be a draw? The only way this is going to be a victory is if the enemy tank destroyer makes a blunder. Not a blender, a blunder. Makes a big mistake. Let's see if he's gonna make a big mistake. So, he's not here. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's come out of cover. He wanted to shoot at the base. Vehicle 9 occupa. Okay, so that was a victory. That was quite an amazing victory, and I got another female commander, and mission collision 15 for Operation Excalibur has been completed, so I was very happy after these 2 battles, although this was after holiday ops, but the thing was within the period, you know, like the grace period right after holiday ops, so I recorded, saved it and recorded it. So those were those fun battles I had in this tank recently. I hope you like them, and I'll try to make a video every weekend, hopefully. So maybe see you next weekend. Until then, have a nice weekend, have a nice week.